lot of celebration, but we have never remembered the day the Lord Baden-Powell passed away. And today is an occasion where the Secretary General of Bharat Scouts and Guides and State Chief Commissioner of Karnataka State, 𝗟𝗡𝗖𝗍𝗓, sir, initiated the idea that we remember our Lord Baden-Powell on this day, so that we all can know the finest part of his life. We'll be starting this webinar, Remembering Baden-Powell, in a couple of minutes now. Before we move ahead and start the webinar, let us all rise for the Scout prayer.
दया कर दान भक्ति का हमें परमात्मा देना, दया करना हमारी आत्मा में शुद्धता देना, हमारे ध्यान में आओ प्रभु, आँखों में बस जाओ, अंधेरे दिल में आकर के परम ज्योति जगा देना, बहा दो प्रेम की गंगा, दिलों में प्रेम का सागर, हमें आपस में मिलजुल कर प्रभु रहना सिखा देना, हमारा कर्म हो सेवा, हमारा धर्म हो सेवा, सदा ईमान हो सेवा, वो सेवक चर बना देना, वतन के वास्ते जीना, वतन के वास्ते मरना, वतन पर जान फिदा करना, प्रभु हमको सिखा देना, दया कर दान भक्ति का हमें परमात्मा देना, दया करना हमारी आत्मा में शुद्धता देना.
Thank you one and all. You may be please seated now. Today, the webinar, we will have the session on Remembering Baden-Powell. This will be followed by Yuva Kalakars. The speaker of today is Mr. Goru Bhuvan. He is a lead trainer Scouts and he is from Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan. Apart from this, he is a wonderful artist. He has made a lot of cartoons or related to Scouting, and he is a wonderful trainer. I take this opportunity to invite our State Chief Commissioner, 𝗟𝗡𝗖𝗍𝗓 sir, to give the opening remarks and welcome our resource speaker, Goru Bhuvan. Sindhya sir, over to you.
Dear brothers and sisters, today, during this pandemic period, the world is understanding the importance of scouting and guiding. Scout guides with 3 fingers when we salute others. Service for yourself, service for truth and God, and service for others. So this has actually happened during this Corona period. All of us, we have taken care as far as possible, which is very, very important. Your physical and mental health. Number 2, we have done great service to others. I am so happy, not only in India, all over the country, all over the world, in many countries, people have done a lot of service. In India, I think several lakhs of masks have been prepared by the boys, girls, rovers, rangers, with the support of their parents and teachers and donors. They have done a lot of service, distribution of food grains to the migrant workers. All this happened because in India, this movement has been blessed by many, many very big people, very great people. Now, if this movement has motivated all of us to do some service to the society, you imagine 1907, 113 years back, being an army officer, Baden-Powell gave this idea of doing service to others. When he breathed his last, when he went to his home, he said, make others smile. This is what he said. He also said, when you leave this world, do something and go. We all know that we leave this world and go, but still we fight among ourselves. Corona should teach us a good lesson in our lives, daily lives. But the scouts and guides, I am so happy. The spirit of scouting, if one imbibes in their life, he can be a better human being. There is no subject which Bedan-Powell has not touched. A great man, a great point of time he started this movement. It is 79 years back. His physical body left, his soul, according to me, still there. The spirit is always there. It is burning in several millions of youngsters, boys and girls in the whole world. If at all, if there is any organization of the youngsters which says brotherhood and sisterhood and takes care of the nature, it is only Scouts and Guides in different forms. It may be Bharat Scouts and Guides. It may be other several associations in other parts of the world. I know, I am aware, countries like Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, even Pakistan. Scouts Guides have done a great service during this COVID period, deriving inspiration from Bedan-Powell. That is why Mahatma Gandhi said, youngsters like Scouts and Guides should be there in every house of this great country. So, my friends, we have with us Gora Bhuvan Babu. I know him through Dr. Vijayalakshmi, the Joint Director of Kendriya Vidyalayas. Bhuvan is an excellent teacher. I myself, being a former teacher, I envy Mr. Bhuvan. The way in which he makes others to understand something very, very great. And also, he has adopted the IT technology during this COVID period to communicate to the people of this country, youngsters, particularly the spirit of scouting. I salute Mr. Bhuvan Babu. You are a very good teacher, sir. Wish you all the best. On behalf of Scouts and Guides, I welcome you to this webinar. And also, I will be failing in my duty. It is Madhusudan who gave me the idea of this 8th January. It is not PGR So it is Madhusudan who said, let us mourn and learn lessons from Bedan-Powell. So let us be more truthful in life, knowing from Bedan-Powell, that is the message we can take. In state headquarters of Karnataka, Shantigruha today, we gave floral tributes to Bedan-Powell. I never had an opportunity of seeing Bronzeley Island. I never had an opportunity to meet anybody in scouting in London. But when I went to Washington, I had the great opportunity of meeting one of his relatives. I think his brother or sister, son, like that. The whole family is dedicated for scouting and guiding. I am sure the younger generation, the youngsters particularly, it is for you in the days ahead. It is for you people to derive inspiration, the spirit of scouting from Bedan-Powell, and remember him. Why do we remember? See what a beautiful thing he has said. Do a good turn a day. A good turn, if one does, a fellow surrounding him will, all of them will copy it, or they will, at least their conscience will pick. So he is a great man, one of the greatest world leaders. He should have got the Nobel laureate also, he should have become. but it has not. These democratically elected people, they are for a temporary period. They are for some economic changes, they are for some development. But Baden-Powell will remain in history forever for the only reason he was for spirituality. The spirituality is goodness of life. Be happy, keep happy. With this, I once again congratulate Mr. Madhusudan, youngster who is coming up. And during this COVID period, all the 8-9 months, he made all of us to work. All of us, we have worked. We have worked together. The spirit of Madhusudan is something very great. I appreciate this young man. He has got a great future in scouting and guiding. He will take up many responsibilities in the days to come. He is already the Deputy Commissioner of International Affairs of Scouts and Guides. Whenever an opportunity comes, if at all it comes to me, I promise all of you that Madhusudan will get my support, my blessings, all the time to come. IT technology has taken a very, very important position in our daily learning and daily life. It is because of Madhusudan we could conduct these webinars, Zoom meeting, online meeting, e-governance, and whatnot. Congratulate Madhusudan, congratulations. Bhuvan Babu, welcome. I also welcome all the participants. There are more than 100 participants in this meeting. There are thousands who may be watching this. I wish every scout master, guide captain will remember his birthday and also his last day. With this, I consider as it my privilege I got this great opportunity to join all of you to observe his death day and derive some inspiration from his life. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best. Happy New Year. Thank you, gentlemen. Scout salute to you, each one of you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I invite Bhuvan Babu to start his presentation. It's over to Mr. Bhuvan.
Thank you very much, sir. At the outset, I would like to thank State Chief Commissioner, sir, of Karnataka State for giving this wonderful opportunity. And I thank Shri Madhu, sir, for this very novel idea. Without wasting much time, this is the need of the hour work, and let us go into to learn the last few years of Lord Baden-Powell. As it is very well said, we all know about him, we all know what he has done, but what he was in the last few years, that would be the part of my presentation now. So let us all join hands, my dear brothers and sisters, to remember Baden-Powell and his contribution to this world. We say in Sanskrit, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And Baden-Powell was a person who could think in such a way that he thought the whole world is a village. And how did he come to that? Before we go to the last years of BP, let us know about his past. To start with, we have 4 stages of Baden-Powell. Here in the picture, there are 4 different stages of his life. Normally in Scouting for Boys, we can see a picture wherein he is in an army uniform and then he turns to be a scouter. But the World Organization of the Scout Movement has split his life into 4 parts, and they have given wonderful justification for that. And it goes like this. We start with an admirable madman. Normally, when we talk one-to-one, we say this man has made all of us mad. Otherwise, we won't wear such uniform. We will not be sitting, like this. We won't be camping. We all, colloquially, everybody uses this word. But it is not that he is an admirable madman, because he was a performer with different interests, diverse interests. He was a theater actor, musician, art director, painter, book and magazine illustrator, photographer, nature lover, sportsman, so many things. The illustration which you are seeing in this picture, in this slide, is a skit, a theater which he performed in Shimla when he was in 13th Hussars Regiment in India. This shows how much dedicated he was. This was in the year 1887. The theater was, the drama was theatered in England in 1886. The same drama was theatered in India, wherein Baden-Powell took a role of a tea owner from China, and a very beautiful, successful theater it was. One anecdote I would like to just tell in this place, where many of us don't know. We all know that Baden-Powell was an ambidex. He could use both hands very freely with ease. On one occasion, when his superior asked Baden-Powell to help them in paint the properties of a stage, Baden-Powell used both the hands and his legs also. He tied brushes in both his legs with all four on go. He painted the whole stage within no time. So that was the skill which Baden-Powell had. And people, when they saw him, they thought that what this crazy man is doing. But end of the day, they could see that the whole stage was painted within no time. So an admirable madman started his life for other people. When he had acquired all these skills of theater, music, art direction, painting, all these stuff, then he goes into army. And that is supposed to be an accident. That is how Baden-Powell himself says, and that is how all the biographies of Baden-Powell says. He goes to the next stage, a hero. He becomes a hero. We all know this story. He being 𝗜𝗡𝗧𝗓, the wolf that never sleeps, hero of Mafeking. We all know the story. But to become a hero, he had done a lot of homework. And what were they? Whatever courses he did, he got an extra recognition, extra certificate. In anything, we just get first prize, we get commendation, but he always got something extra because his contribution for everything was something extra mile. He won the Kadir Cup for pig sticking or hog hunting, and he was promoted to higher ranks very, very quickly. For that, BP says two things worked. One was his dedication and hard work. The second one was pure luck. He used these two words in his writings, in Lessons to the Varsity of Life book. If you read, he says these two things. It was his hard work as well as his pure luck. And then he was a military secretary, intelligence officer, lot of expeditions, lot of travels, and he was an innovative trainer. He used to change the uniforms. He used to give new badges. He used to give new schemes like this. When he could expose himself, and he used to bluff also in Mafeking. We all know that story, how he bluffed to relieve the siege. And finally, he became the hero. This is the second stage of his life. So an admirable madman turns to be a hero. And what next? Normally, when we are into studies, when we go for higher education, and then we go for a job, we just get settled, and then we are fine. Then one fine day we retire. But BP was not like that. He went to the next level. What shall I do then? At the age of 53, when he retired himself from the army, he went for the next level, and that is he became an educationist. Bernard Shaw, in his own sarcastic way, gave a comment when he was asked, "What do you think about scouting?" He said, "The greatest contribution to the field of education was not given by an educationist, but by a soldier." It was a sarcastic comment, but still, it's a wonderful comment he has given for Baden-Powell, because as an educationist, here he is not an educator. There is a difference between educator and educationist. Educationist has a vision. He has a futuristic thought. So he was a boy man in the first place. He was a boy man. He went to the level of boy. He stood in the boy's shoes and he understood. And he was a wonderful writer. we can know his style of writing, his way of presenting through the anecdotes in the Scouting for Boys yarns. He was a psychology analyst. He was just analyzing the psychology of young children, boys. He was a philosopher. A lot of writings you can, when we read, you can feel that wow, he is a wonderful philosopher, a great orator. Though he was thin, he was an average height person. When he stood upon in all stages, in the jamborees especially, he got such a great response. His voice was so wonderful. In Hindi we say buland awaaz, no? So wonderful voice, so attractive he was. Though he took full advantage of his physics, and then he was a wonderful guide. He used to guide after he started the movement for boys, and after he wrote in the adult leaders, he started to guide them, and he did a lot of research. And for all these things which he had done, he got 6 honorary degrees till the year 1937. 6 honorary degrees from various different universities. Exclusively, he got 4 degrees for law. So he had come to the third stage. Now the next stage, when a man grows up, the thought process also changes. When he was an army person, he had some ideas which he himself changes when he becomes an educationist, when he started the scouting movement. And when he saw the success of the movement, when he saw the coming of age, 21 full years of scouting he had enjoyed, when he saw that age, then some more changes, some more maturity, some more philosophical thoughts came into his mind, and he became the peacemaker. The last stage of his life, the peacemaker, the ambassador of humanity he was. And he was working for global citizenship, and he was connecting a lot of different mindsets. When he came twice to India after becoming, after the movement started, he had done a lot of contribution for amalgamation of the movements, various different movements here, various different associations. And not only here, be it in Australia, be it in America, everywhere he had traveled, and he was connecting people, being even in the European continent. And he was a peace messenger. Of course, I started the speech with saying that Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So he had that vision in mind, and he wanted to be a peace messenger for this world. And finally, he became the chief scout of the world. So these were the 4 different stages of the life of Baden-Powell. Now, we are going to see from 1937 to 1941, the last 4 years, three years or so of Baden-Powell. We are starting with All India Jamboree in the year 1939, January. Baden-Powell always had a separate heart for India. As he had worked in India, he had gone places, he had met people, he had taken the food, he had loved this climate, especially in Simla. His theatrical skills were very well shown in Shimla. He had traveled all the way from Bombay to Meerut. He had traveled all the way through Jabalpur to all these places, and he knows the whole flora and fauna of India. And he visits the All India Jamboree according to the invitation. He and Lady BP visits in the year 1937. It was a wonderful jamboree. And he celebrates his 80th birthday in the 13th Hussars Regiment in the year 1937. And he wears the army uniform for the last time. So here in the left-hand side, you can see Baden-Powell in 1883, and he in 1937 wearing the regimental uniform, and he mounted on the horse in uniform for the last time. So this 1937 year was very special for Baden-Powell because he had attended the Indian Jamboree. Not only that, next in the month of August, he visited the 5th World Jamboree in Netherlands. And here you can find how much he enjoys the company of boys. So here you can find Baden-Powell with his camera. He's shooting the activities in the Jamboree, and the left side we can see the logo of the Jamboree. So this is the state when, excuse me, when Baden-Powell was had to have a surgery, and then he recovered. He moved to these places. In the year 1937, he felt that his time has come to retire. And in this Jamboree, he emphasizes it. Wherever he went that year, he was giving his bidding speech. But this Jamboree was so very special, wherein he enjoyed a lot. I could collect a few photographs. The scouters playing, a unity game, and how much Baden-Powell loves it. You could see his eyes, one could see his lips, the smile in his lips, the eyes. They convey message. They convey message. How much he has enjoyed the moment which he had created. Just like he sowed a small seed. It has grown up. He has seen the success of the moment in his own life. And that shows in his face, that is expressed in his face. And this photograph in that year when Baden-Powell was lifted by all the scouts, you can find scouts of different nations, they are lifting him, and how much happy BP would have felt when we know that we don't know who the person is, who they are, but all towards one goal of making the world better. So great it was. And we could feel the happiness of BP here. And in his bidding speech in the Jamboree, he said these words: "The time has come to me to say goodbye. You know that many of us will never meet again in this world." So how many of us can give a speech like this? He said, "You know that many of us will never meet in this world again. I'm in my 81st year and nearing the end of my life. Most of you are at the beginning." To the young scouts, most of you are at the beginning, and I want your lives to be happy and successful. In no way people are connected, but he has connected everyone, and he to be successful. And you can achieve this by following the scout promise and law. He conveyed his desire, and he also tells a way that through the scout promise and law, you can achieve this. And above all, the next line, he says, the badge of the Jamboree. He talks about the badge. He becomes very sentimental, very emotional, and he talks about the badge. He says, "Keep this badge safely. Keep this, preserve this badge in your uniform. Whenever you take this uniform, you will feel I attended the Jamboree in which Baden-Powell attended for the last." Always, all the Jamborees are so very special for every scout and every member of the movement. But this was very special because Baden-Powell's last Jamboree was this, and he gave his bidding speech to the whole members gathered there. And in the same year, as I had told, he received 6 honorary degrees from various different universities, especially for law. And he traveled quite a lot in those days. And he got the Walter Peace Prize for that year. And, it is given by Carnegie Foundation. And the year 1937, he got this. And he could realize about his health. That was he could, self-realization is always there. So at Pax Hill, at his home in London, his daily routine activities were there. He wanted to retire. He even did not attend the parades of army. He wanted to be at home, and he did his own work, his own interests. He was reading, writing with his pets like this. He wanted to do the work which he liked. And here comes Lady Baden-Powell, to whom he discussed that the situation in Europe, when the war has started, the situation in Europe is not that much happy, and he wanted to go to a peaceful area. And Lady Baden-Powell also accepted his thought. At that time, both were chief scout and chief guide of the world, And it was literally like to renounce all these things and go to a different land. And Baden-Powell wanted to go somewhere like this. And he had a friend, Eric Walker, who was in Kenya at that time. And Baden-Powell had visited there, and he thought that that area he loved a lot. He wanted to settle there. As a Silver Jubilee wedding gift, they got a lump sum check with a beautiful amount, and using that amount, they both decided that we should go and settle in Kenya. And Eric Walker was responsible for building the bungalow, Pax 2, the second home for BP. Pax Hill was in London, Pax 2 in Kenya. They literally were very anxious to go to Pax 2 and settle down there. So BP on cruise. This is a very rare picture of Baden-Powell. You can see him wearing spectacles. It's a very rare picture. He was very happy, very confined. He left everything, whatever memorabilia, whatever collectibles given to him, those things he gave it to the museum making in London. He gave some to the American Boy Scout of America also. And he didn't take much things with him. All the things he distributed, and he just wanted to live a very happy last life and sail to Kenya. This is the bungalow built by Eric Walker for the BPs in Kenya. A very, very simple bungalow. It was not too big like what they had in Pax Hill, but it was a wonderful place for them to live. Baden-Powell loved the veranda, which we can see in the image. He always stayed there. Mostly in the daytime he was there, and at times till he became very sick, he was sleeping in the veranda only. This is the present day photograph of Pax 2 in Kenya. Some things are added, renovation has been done, and it has been maintained in the same fashion. And on the 75th anniversary of World Scouting, a stamp was released by Kenya with the Pax 2 bungalow. And so beautiful. Even today it is attractive tourist spot. Tourists go there, and the Pax 2 home is converted into a museum now. In and around that, Eric Walker had a hotel nearby this, and a part of this hotel is only given to Baden-Powell for building Pax 2, and that hotel is also running very successfully. And when people visit there, they enjoy the scenic beauty of Kenya and the flora and fauna. When BP reached there, he was so very happy, though his health was not favorable, but still he was happy. Every day he never failed to do the morning exercise. The BP exercise, there are videos wherein BP does the morning exercise. We tell in training courses to do BP exercise, but many a time we don't follow it. But BP had a urge to follow what he preaches. So every morning exercise, and he kept in his mind, he was ensuring that he took bath every day. That was what he wanted. He says that in Scouting for Boys also. Tip to do, at least if you don't get a chance to bath, at least wipe with a wet towel. That's what he says. So in the morning hours, one of the rare pictures of BB in Kenya, and he loved this hyrax very much. It is a pet. It's like a squirrel family. He had two like this. One was named as Tutu for Baden-Powell and Lady BP. 22 is their birthday, so sharing their birthday in the just as a reminder, they named the first hyrax which they had as Tutu, which was given by Eric Walker. And then second, after that, they got another one, a Hyri, which they named as Hyri, and it was a pet. And he loved playing with it. In the picture you can see it is sitting over his head, and the BP is wonderfully posing for the same. And fishing was one of his favorite sport. And whenever he appeared, BP appeared, he dressed well himself. He very well dressed. He presented well, and such a wonderful personality. Even though he was in his 80s, he was fit. Though though fit, some problems were there, like skin problems. He had a lot, itching problems in his body. Every day he had to apply ointment on his body, and a severe headache he had. These problems were there. Still, he managed to do his work. He was not dependent on anyone. Throughout the years of 38, they moved in the year 38, 38, 39. Baden-Powell had a wonderful time. Occasionally, he used to go to treetop shelter stays. And there was a permanent treetop shelter built for him. So in this picture, you can find the shelter being built over the tree. He used to go there and stay at night and watch the nocturnal birds and animals at nights, and he used to come back. He had a lovely time. And Lady BP, in her biography, she says, Windows on My Heart is the book. In that, she says how much she took care of BP. Lady BP called BP as Robin and Bin in very short. She said, I took, Bin was totally in my eyes. I was taking care of Bin. And only these two were there. They were, for the first time in their life, they two were alone, and children were scattered. Betty and other in London, and Peter in the northern part of Africa, like this. So wonderful occasional treetops, jungle safaris, wherein BP would go on a car to a certain extent, and then from there he would ride on a horse with his binoculars, with his cameras, and he had a beautiful time. And right from the year 1937, he wrote 4 books. African Adventures was a beautiful book written by him. He never stopped these things. That's what, after he attained that age, 80 years, he wrote books. He wrote books, and till his last minute, he had written book. That is the fascinating stuff. In 1937, the book African Adventures got released. And then in 38, Birds and Beasts of Africa were released. He made detailed sketches and writing of the birds and beasts of Africa. PDF versions of these books are available in the net. Can download and read. We can have a resolution that I will read 1 book a month of what BP had written. It's a wonderful eye opener for all of us, I think. And in the year 1939, he wrote the book called as Paddle Your Own Canoe. It's a wonderful saying. Even in Rememberin to Success, we can find this picture, Paddle Your Own Canoe. Wonderful, wonderfully representing how to take care of yourself. That is what BP says here. And he has become so mature, so aged. His thought totally changed. And he has, especially from the year 1938, he has moved more into philosophical way. And that is how we can see in the Lessons from the Varsity of Life book, how much he had contributed from his thoughts. And in the year 1940, this was his last book, More Sketches of Kenya. Very detailed anecdotes and beautiful sketches are given. If we cannot get these books, there is a book called as Footsteps of the Founder, written by Mario Sica, an Italian trainer. He is a person who has mastered all the writings of Baden-Powell. So he has given various different quotations from the books written by Baden-Powell. Baden-Powell has written 35 to 36 books. And from all these things, he has taken and he has compiled them to form as Footsteps of the Founder and Playing the Game. These are the 2 beautiful books. And one more book is Citizens of the World. These are the 3 compilations by Mario Sica on Baden-Powell's writing. So for those who are interested in research, can get these books. These are available in the internet, in the online shopping, can get them and read. Baden-Powell Baden-Powell again and again, he fell sick. Right from 1939, there was a doctor who lived a few miles away. The doctor used to come and take care of BP. Sometimes, as I told you, he had a lot of skin problem, and he had to be bandaged. He had to be given medicine injections, sometimes for his headaches, severe headache and perennial headache, and sometimes for his itching sensation, and sometimes he had breathing trouble also. So his participation outside was very less in the year 1940. He was mostly in the bed. Very little he spoke. So we can imagine a man who had a roaring voice. He spoke very little when in his last years, and he took very little intake of food was there. Sometimes he take soup, porridge like this. He took very little, but his thought was fully active. He had a wonderful active thought. His memories, his philosophy all this, but still he would like to, he paints, he sketches, anxious in scouting for voice, but he was a wonderful painter than that. You can see in the image of Bedan-Powell, he's painting with his left hand. So he, with ease, he can use both his hands. When his left hand is tired, he would use his right hand, and vice versa. And here in the picture, you can see a beautiful scenic beauty of Kenya. The lines, all the bees are seen here. Wonderful lighting, light source, wash techniques. If I go more into artistic perspective, that will be a different session. Yet another painting. I have just chosen three unique paintings, which he displayed in the Royal Army exhibition, and it was accorded very well. So here, a beautiful scenery of the mountain, and here, beautiful garden. And he was in Nairi, and he used to write whatever he had painted. He stopped speaking to people. The speech was very less, but he was keeping on working. He was keeping on painting, and painting. He had become like a child, that he was keeping on painting like a small child. If you just leave a child with crayons, it would just keep on doing something, work silently, without any disturbance, without shouting, without anything. He was as calm as this, as if the place was like this. And when I was reading this, I was just imagining, how come a man who was a hero, who was so very famous, had lived a simple life at the end. He renounced everything, and he was silent. He was speaking only with his conscience. He was just doing he was just speaking to the nature and drawing them into his paintings. And the 1939 was another happy time. It was a reunion of the family. After one particular stage, the family scattered. Peter went for his services, and then his other two daughters, Betty and Heather, they also went for different studies, and the family never met for a long time. One or the other will not be there in the family. And finally, there was a reunion of family in 1939. Here in the picture, we can see Baden-Powell and Lady Baden-Powell with their first grandson, Robert. His name is Robert Baden-Powell, the first grandson. And in the picture below, you can see the family members, Peter, Heather, and Betty. In the year 1940, another happy occasion wherein Betty got hitched to her lover, and Baden-Powell was so very happy to see her daughter getting married. Here in the picture, you can see how old BP looks, but still his vision, his eyes are sharp vision, beautiful way of presenting himself. Even at this age, he was very particular about how to present himself. And the year 1940 was the decline. Even at the time of Betty's wedding, Betty thought that she is going to see her father for the last time. Though he was well presented on the wedding, after that he got sick. In the year 1940, at the time of around October, Baden-Powell got much sick. He never came out. he never recovered after that. He was totally in bed, but he made it to the point that he sends Christmas greeting card for 1940. And this is the Christmas card he made in his bed. And even at that time, the 83 years, even at that time, he had a beautiful stroke. As an artist, I could admire his strokes, his writing, and no, his composition as a greeting card. Which one to be specified, which one to be highlighted, which one to be substituted with image. All these wonderfully composed. And this is supposed to be the last work he had shared with the world, Christmas greeting card. And he himself thought that he will not be there. The biographers say that he thought that he will not be there for the Christmas also. But after that, his health declined so much, too much of decline in health. So one fine day, when Lady BP and his maid was not there at home, he went and he was little recovered. He went nearby, all his belongings would be kept in a box. He opened that, and there was an envelope which he had created very long before. Baden-Powell often, he used to tell, even to Lady BP, he would tell, we have 25 years of difference, so I may die anytime. You may become an early widow also. So he would always tell, he would always prepare himself. So in the 70s of his age, he prepared his last message to scouts. He wrote the last message. He opened the box in the year 1940. He took the envelope, and it was written in that to be opened at the time of my death. He opened it and he rewrote it again. And he added one more speech to scout leaders. So this is the speciality. Exclusively, we all know that BP had written a last message to scouts. He had written a last message to scout leaders also. And he wrote a last message to public also. So 3 letters were there in the envelope. He sealed it and he quietly went and slept. And it was said that after that, he could never get up from his bed. On 8th January, he passed away. 7th January, he was very, very sick. He did not speak. He did not eat anything. 8th January, early morning, 5 o'clock, the nurse called Lady Baden-Powell and told that he's going. She came near BP and she was talking. Both were talking in their minds. And then she went to sleep at 5:45 a.m. BP passed away, and it came in newspapers, and many of the world newspapers covered his death news. Baden-Powell was an artist, actor, writer, soldier, cartographer, war hero, educationist, ambidexter, decorations holder. He had more than 48 decorations. This Lord, Sir, all these includes in that. And he got peerages also. And then 6 doctorate degree holding. And he was a nature lover, peacemaker. And above all, I found to my astonishment that there are 176 biographies of Baden-Powell, 176 books written on him, and again more than 150 articles. Articles means exclusively in books it is written, and above this he has written. Baden-Powell himself has written forward for more than 300 books. One such book is very special. The book is called as Ambidexterity, and that was written in the year 1907 by, I'm not remembering the gentleman. And Baden-Powell has given forward for it, and he has written how to practice this ambidexterity. So a man with so many things like this, when people asked, when even personally Lady BP asked him, how would you want to be remembered? So he had told one word. And before that, one small flashback, when Betty came for her wedding, and she came with another agenda, she told Lady BP to ask, there was a news from the Westminster Abbey that a place has been fixed for burying Baden-Powell. Please ask your father whether he wants to be buried in Westminster Abbey in London. And this was asked to Baden-Powell. Baden-Powell very quietly, it is written in his biography, very quietly he replied like this. He said, thank you very much. The first word was thank you. I would like to sleep in Kenya. That's what he said. Thank you very much. I would like to sleep in Kenya. And when Lady BP asked, Lady BP was asked, what should we put? Okay, he has so much of things. No, after writing Robert Baden-Powell, what should we put? Then Lady BP immediately said he preferred only one thing, and that is Chief Scout of the world. That's what he preferred. A person who raised to a level of a world famous hero, who became the greatest educationist, who became the peacemaker of the world. He was so humble, he renounced everything with only one title, and that is not no, he did not want to be the no, we have so many different ranks. He didn't want that. He just simply said, I'll be the Chief Scout. Let me be the Chief Scout. And with that title, I am very happy. So following the footsteps of the founder is a wonderful, challenging job. And people have done that. Okay, one such person was in Tamil Nadu, and that person lived for 100 years. In this juncture, I would like to mention about him, Sri N.V. Ramasamy, leader trainer scouts, who lived for 100 years. He was born in 1908 and he passed away in 2012 at the age of 104. And he was following the footsteps of the founder. Right, you can see the photograph of his young age and old age. He was wanted to dress like BP. I got an opportunity in the year 2008 to interview him. At that time, he told a lot about BP. One thing which he said was the scarf. You can see in this picture on the pillow. Always he used to put a scarf. He used to wear. That was the scarf which he got first as a scoutmaster, and that scarf he had preserved. He said, no, he quietly, in my ears, he said, that holds the BP spirit inside. He said he can never sleep without the scarf. That is the legacy of Baden-Powell. So when Lady BP passed away, she was also buried along with Robert Baden-Powell, and this is there in Nairobi, Kenya. When we go and visit, at least once, there are some places which we have to visit before we say bye to this world. And Gilwell, as such, Brownsea Island, and Kenya Pax 2, and the burial place of BP. These are the places which we need to visit. And one wonderful saying by Baden-Powell: I shall pass through this world but once. If therefore there may be any kindness I can show, or any good thing I can do, let me do it now. What a wonderful saying. What a wonderful saying. So he says, if I neglect, then I cannot do it again, because I will never pass this way again. I'll never come back. So when we are there here, let us do it. Let us do the good thing, and then very happily, like our State Chief Commissioner said, creating a better world, create a better world, and be happy before we leave. So that was what I could gather from the life of BP the last 4 years, and I am so much moved. And it has while I was reading for this, I've been taken to a next level of thought process, and I hope that I could share some of the things which I enjoyed with all of you on this occasion. I once again take this opportunity to thank State Chief Commissioner sir and Karnataka State, especially Madhu sir, who came up with an idea. He said, let us celebrate, let us
of Baden-Powell come in front of one's eyes. If anybody has a question regarding this, you can always ask the question. Otherwise, it was a wonderful depiction of what happened by Mr. Bhuvan Babu. Let us all go by the teachings, preachings, learnings of Baden-Powell, and let us continue to do the good turn and carry the message of Baden-Powell and bring smiles on millions of faces whom we meet and come across. Thank you very much, Bhuvan. And for all the viewers, this was the first part of our today's program. And today is also the death anniversary of our Deen Naidu, who was the former National Commissioner of Scouts. Today's nomenclature, it is Chief National Commissioner. So we also remember him on this day for laying a foundation for strong scouting in the country of India. Moving ahead, let us all now get back to the mood of National Youth Day. And today is the day 4 of the activities. And today the activities what we are talking about is Yuva Kalakars. When we talk about Yuva Kalakars, today the activities what we are supposed to do is dance, music, uh, English or Hindi recitation, instrumental music, and all these things. Today, to do one of the first activities, dance, we have Anurag, who is going to show us a few steps of dance, and we can follow his dance and make a small video of this. And we upload this video with a 15-second self-introduction, followed by 2 to 4 minutes of the dance, and we can upload in the links given. We will share the links as early as possible in your chats. Now over to Anurag. Yeah.
Okay, sir. So what is the song?
You can, it's of your choice. Yeah. You can prepare with it. While you prepare with it, we'll be playing one video. This video is from Nayana Prabhakar, and she is prepared, Sinchana Prabhakar, and we have done this video and it will be telecasted now. Can we have the AV, please?
Namaste, I am Sinchana Ember, a guide from Udupi, Karnataka. I'm going to perform a Bharatanatyam dance.
देवी स्तुति पाहिमां श्री राजराजेश्वरी राग जनरंजनी आदिताल
ಮಾಧ್ಯಮ ಶಾಲೆ ಮೂಡುಬಿದ್ರಿ.
ಇಂದು ನಾವು ದೇಶಭಕ್ತಿ ಗೀತೆಯನ್ನು ಹಾಡಲಿದ್ದೇವೆ.
ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಮಹಾನ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಮಹಾನ್. ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಮಹಾನ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಮಹಾನ್. ಈ ಧರೆಯಹುದು ನಮ್ಮ ತಾಯಿ, ಈ ಧರೆಯಹುದು ನಮ್ಮ ತಾಯಿ. ನಾವವಳ ಸಂತಾನವು, ನಾವವಳ ಸಂತಾನವು. ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಮಹಾನ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಮಹಾನ್. ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಮಹಾನ್. ಸನಿ ಸನಿ ದ ಪದ ಪನಿ ದ ನಿ ದ ಪಗ ಪಗ ಸಗ ಪಗ ಪದ ಪದ ಸನಿ ದ ನಿ ಪ. ಸನಿ ನಿ ಸಗ ಗ ಪಗ ಪಗ ಗ ಸ ಸ ಸನಿ ದ ಪಗ ಪದ ನಿ ಸ. ಹಿಂದೂ ಮುಸಲಿಂ ಸಿಖ್ ಈಸಾಯಿ ಬಂಧುಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಸೋದರ ನಾವು. ಸಾನಿ ದ ಪಗ ಪದ ನಿ ಸ. ಹಿಂದೂ ಮುಸಲಿಂ ಸಿಖ್ ಈಸಾಯಿ ಬಂಧುಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಸೋದರ ನಾವು. ಒಂದೇ ತೋಟದ ಹೂವುಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರೇಮ ಪ್ರೀತಿಗಳ ಬಣ್ಣಗಳಾವು. ಸಾನಿ ದ ಪಗ ಪದ ನಿ ಸ. ಕೋಮಲ ಮನವು ಕಠಿಣವು ತನವು ಎನಿಸದಿರಾರು ಸುಲಭರು ಎಂದು ನಾವು ತ್ರಿವರ್ಣದ ಪ್ರಭಾವಳಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಉದಿಸಿದ ಯೋಧರು. ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಮಹಾನ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಮಹಾನ್. ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಮಹಾನ್. ಸನಿ ಸನಿ ದ ಪದ ಪನಿ ದ ನಿ ದ ಪಗ ಪಗ ಸಗ ಪಗ ಪದ ಪದ ಸನಿ ದ ನಿ ಪ. ಸನಿ ನಿ ಸಗ ಗ ಪಗ ಪಗ ಗ ಸ ಸ ಸನಿ ದ ಪಗ ಪದ ನಿ ಸ. ಒಟ್ಟಾಗಿ ಸೇರಿ ಒಟ್ಟಾಗಿ ದುಡಿದು ಭುವಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿರಿಯನ್ನು ಪಡೆಯೋಣ. ಸಾನಿ ದ ಪಗ ಪದ ನಿ ಸ. ಒಟ್ಟಾಗಿ ಸೇರಿ ಒಟ್ಟಾಗಿ ದುಡಿದು ಭುವಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿರಿಯನ್ನು ಪಡೆಯೋಣ. ಇರಬಾರದಾರು ಹಸಿವಿನ ಸಂಗ, ಮನೆ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹುದು ಪ್ರೇಮದ ಗಂಗ. ಸಾನಿ ದ ಪಗ ಪದ ನಿ ಸ. ದೇಶವು ನಮ್ಮದು ಎನ್ನುವ ನನಸು ಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಲಿ ಬಾಪು ಕನಸು. ಜಯ ಜಯವೆನ್ನಿರಿ ಕಾರ್ಮಿಕರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ, ಜಯವೆನ್ನಿರಿ ಜನ ರೈತರಿಗೆ. ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಮಹಾನ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಮಹಾನ್. ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಮಹಾನ್. ಈ ಧರೆಯಹುದು ನಮ್ಮ ತಾಯಿ, ಈ ಧರೆಯಹುದು ನಮ್ಮ ತಾಯಿ. ನಾವವಳ ಸಂತಾನವು, ನಾವವಳ ಸಂತಾನವು. ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಮಹಾನ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಮಹಾನ್. ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಮಹಾನ್. ವಂದೇ ಮಾತರಂ, ವಂದೇ ಮಾತರಂ. ಆ ವಂದೇ ಮಾತರಂ, ವಂದೇ ಮಾತರಂ. ಆ ವಂದೇ ಮಾತರಂ, ವಂದೇ ಮಾತರಂ.
And I'm a Raja Puriskar Scout and Messenger of Peace. Now I'm going to show you a freestyle dance. So watch.
Scouting friends all over the world. Create a bridge in the world to live in peace. This is the time to spread out the word. Love, peace, tolerance, respect. Bring the love and live in harmony. Whisper it deep into your heart. Start to change the world today. It's never too late, no matter where you are. This is the time to spread out the word. Love, peace, tolerance, respect. We are scouts, the messengers of peace. Hand in hand, let's build a better world. We are scouts, the messengers of peace. Respecting the difference and diversity. Bring the love and live in harmony.
Thank you, sir.
ಈಗ ನಾವು ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರಗೀತೆಯೊಂದಿಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಮುಕ್ತಾಯಗೊಳಿಸೋಣ.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा। विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा। तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे। गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।